Draymond Green is finally sharing what LeBron James told him after the two spent several days together this summer. Their private conversations centered on the Warriors, and Draymond says one message from LeBron stuck with him. Let me break it down. LeBron James is a free agent for the first time since 2018. That alone is enough to freeze the entire NBA offseason. But this summer, in the middle of that freeze, Draymond Green did something nobody else chasing LeBron could do. He got him alone. Green and James spent real time together this month, away from cameras, away from reporters, away from anyone with a microphone, golfing, talking, just being two guys who've known each other for years. Green happens to be one of his closest friends in the league, and this month, the two spent real time together away from cameras. And when Green got back, he didn't sit on it. He went straight to his own podcast and told everyone what happened. He didn't ease into it either. Asked directly about the hangout, Green laid out exactly why he couldn't let it pass. Us being brothers, I'd be remiss if I don't take the opportunity to throw my pitch in there, Green said. I'd be crazy if we're together for X amount of days, and at no point am I like, yo, we need to chop it up. What the hell's going on? What are we doing? Think about that phrasing for a second. Draymond didn't call this a suggestion or a conversation. He called it a pitch, like he was in a boardroom, not on a fairway. And he told LeBron it would have been crazy not to make it, given how much time they were spending side by side. So what was actually in the pitch? Draymond didn't hand over the full transcript, but he made it clear it wasn't soft. I think I'm pretty decent at it. Does it change anything? Does it make anything happen? I don't know. I hope so, Green said. Then he went further, saying the specifics he shared were built to linger. With the things that I shared in it, I believe it definitely is going to make the brain work a little bit. And here's the line that got clipped and replayed across every NBA account within hours. The one where Draymond basically told the world he thinks he planted something in LeBron's head that won't leave. I don't think there's a decision that's been made, but say if there was, it'll make you think twice about it. Draymond Green said about his pitch to LeBron James in free agency. Read that again. Draymond isn't saying he convinced LeBron. He's saying if LeBron had already made up his mind about somewhere else, what Draymond told him during that trip would be enough to make him second guess it. That's a bold thing to say publicly about a guy who hasn't announced anything. Now, Draymond wasn't the only Warriors voice working the phones or the golf carts this summer. Steph Curry has been doing his own version of this, just with a quieter tone. When he was asked directly what the Warriors could offer LeBron, Curry didn't oversell it. He kept it simple and basketball first, saying the sell was about whether James wanted to play good basketball around people who know the game. As Curry put it himself, the pitch is, do you want to play good basketball and be around people who know how to play the game? He said, that's Curry's version of recruiting. Low-key, almost understated, compared to Draymond going full recruiter mode on a golf course. Two different approaches, same target, same summer. But it's not just Warriors players trying to get inside LeBron's head. Shams Charania, the reporter who first broke that James and Green were meeting up privately, has been blunt about where Golden State actually sits in this race. He laid out that the Warriors dreamt up a scenario with Draymond, Curry, and LeBron all in the same locker room, but that the whole plan hinges on something much bigger than a golf trip. The Warriors going into free agency, they dreamt up a grand plan of Draymond Green, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, but the big domino with them is trying to get a player like an Anthony Davis, so you can bring in LeBron James and Anthony Davis as a package deal. Short of that, they're not really looked at right now at the top of this list. So you've got Draymond insisting his pitch got inside LeBron's head. You've got Curry quietly making his own case about basketball fit. And you've got the reporter closest to the story saying, not so fast. This only works if the front office pulls off something much bigger behind the scenes. 3 completely different angles on the same 6 weeks. And that tension, Draymond's confidence against Charania's skepticism, is exactly why this story has legs. Because Draymond wasn't hanging out with LeBron by accident. This was a summer Draymond had been building towards since before free agency even opened. And to understand why he was so aggressive with that pitch, you have to go back to a decision he made in June, one that had nothing to do with golf and everything to do with clearing a path for exactly this moment. To understand how serious Draymond Green is about this, you need to rewind to late June, before LeBron had even said a word about leaving the Lakers. Green had a player option on his own contract worth $27.7 million. Most players in his position, at 36 years old with a body that's taken a decade of playoff wear, would lock that money in without blinking. Draymond declined it. Green declined his $27.7 million player option for the 2026-27 season. The move was made to help give the Warriors more financial flexibility to pair James and Davis with Green and Stephen Curry per Charania. That's not a small sacrifice. That's a guy walking away from guaranteed money on the bet that it opens a door for two other superstars to walk through it. And the timing wasn't subtle either. On June 29, Charania reported that Green declined the player option in his contract for next season, with an eye toward creating flexibility for the Warriors to pursue James in free agency. And a trade for Washington Wizards big man Anthony Davis. One single day later, the entire NBA got the news that made every front office in the league sit up. LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, told Charania that James informed the Los Angeles Lakers he intended to leave the organization in free agency and play elsewhere next season. Draymond had cleared his own money off the books, literally the day before LeBron confirmed he was walking away from Los Angeles. That's not a coincidence. That's a guy who had information before the rest of us did, and it makes sense why Golden State jumped out as an obvious answer the second that news broke. Golden State instantly stood out as a potential landing spot for James because of his relationship with Green and the allure of playing alongside a fellow future Hall of Famer and all-time great in Stephen Curry. But here's where the plan hit its first real snag. The Warriors weren't just hoping to sign LeBron on his own. They wanted a package, LeBron and Anthony Davis together, reuniting two guys who'd already won a title side by side in 2020. Problem was, Washington wasn't selling. ESPN, Anscape's Mark J. Spears, later reported that the Wizards had no interest in trading Davis, throwing a wrench into the Warriors' overall plans. James and Davis are both Clutch Sports Group clients, and they played together with the Lakers for several seasons, winning a championship in 2020. That Clutch Sports connection matters more than people realize. James and Davis share an agent. Draymond shares that same agent. Green has been a Clutch Sports client since 2019, so he has a connection to James that way. Everybody in this story, Green, James, Davis, runs through the same representation, the same agent, Rich Paul. That's not background noise. That's the reason Draymond was even in a position to have this hangout in the first place, and why the Warriors thought a package deal was realistic to begin with. Except the Wizards wouldn't budge, and that left the front office with a much harder version of the pitch. Instead of offering LeBron a ready-made contender with two stars waiting for him, the Warriors were left leaning entirely on relationships. Golden State once hoped a trade for Anthony Davis would sweeten the deal, reuniting him with James. Washington has since made clear it will not move Davis, so the Warriors are leaning on Curry and Green alone to make their case. That's the moment Draymond's golf trip stops looking like a fun catch-up between friends and starts looking like the actual strategy. With no Davis trade to dangle, the entire Warriors pitch became about the people in the room. Draymond, Curry, Coach Steve Kerr, and whatever bond LeBron already has with them. There's also a wrinkle worth sitting with. Draymond, Curry, and James are all in their late 30s or early 40s at this point in their careers. This isn't a rebuild. This is stacking championship caliber, aging talent onto a roster that already dealt with health questions of its own. Jimmy Butler recovering from a serious injury, a roster that ESPN's own front office analyst pointed out isn't quite loaded compared to the other teams chasing James. Golden State knows this, and yet they're still all in on making this work, because the alternative is watching one of the greatest players ever walk to a division rival or a conference opponent instead. So Draymond wasn't just making small talk on a golf course. He was executing a plan that started with him giving up real money weeks earlier, continued through a broken trade attempt for Anthony Davis, and landed on him personally making the case, man to man, with nobody else in the room. That's the buildup behind the pitch, and it explains why Draymond felt he had to go public with it. Because if the trade route was dead, the relationship route was the only one left, and he needed LeBron to know exactly what was on the table. But Draymond wasn't the only person in LeBron's ear this summer. Far from it. Other franchises had been building their own version of this pitch for weeks, some with a lot more institutional muscle behind it than a golf trip. While Draymond was working the golf course, other teams were working boardrooms, front offices, and even podcasts of their own. LeBron wasn't just fielding a call from Golden State. He was fielding a full recruitment war. Start with the Sixers, because their pitch might be the loudest of the bunch. Philadelphia's team president actually went on Rich Paul's own podcast and made his case directly to LeBron's camp, in LeBron's agent's own house, so to speak. Sixers ownership pitched LeBron on Paul's own podcast. Team president Bob Myers hopped on Game Over this month and made his pitch directly. If LeBron wants to win, he can win in Philadelphia. That's a front office executive skipping the usual back channels and going straight for the camera. And Philly's argument got a lot stronger overnight when they landed a major trade. Everything changed after the Jaylen Brown trade. Those were Paul's opening words in his now famous whiteboard breakdown, declaring that everything changed once the Sixers landed Brown. Charania backed that report by saying the 76ers were not in the picture until trading for Brown changed James's perspective. Overnight, a team that wasn't even part of the conversation became one LeBron was reportedly taking seriously. There's also a personal thread in Philly's pitch that has nothing to do with basketball. The man now running their front office actually knows LeBron from way before either of them made the NBA. Mike Ganzi, who recently left his post as Cavaliers GM to run the 76ers basketball operations, played against James in high school and spent more than a decade in the Cavaliers organization, and said last week that he's known LeBron for a long time and would love to have him in Philly. Then there's Cleveland, the team LeBron has left and returned to before. The team with the deepest emotional history of anyone on this list. Insiders keep pointing back to Cleveland as the favorite, mostly because of what it represents rather than what it can offer financially. That's why the Cavaliers are the clear favorites to lure LeBron back for a second homecoming after he returned in 2014 and led them to their lone title in 2016. ESPN's Brian Windhorst has been watching one specific transaction as the tell for whether that reunion is actually building momentum behind the scenes. If you see the Cavs trade Max Strus, you will know that there's some sort of action there. Windhorst said, Miami's pitch is built on nostalgia of its own. 2 championships, a coach LeBron already trusts, and a roster that already has real talent waiting. It's the mirror image of Cleveland's pitch with more championship pedigree. James led the Heat to 2 titles under Spoelstra in 2011-12 and 2012-13, and they're set up to make another run in the Eastern Conference this year, with Antetokounmpo and Adebayo in place. And when the Cleveland reunion looked shaky for a stretch, Miami actually jumped ahead in the odds. The Heat saw their odds spike last Friday after various reports. That cast doubt on Cleveland's commanding lead. If LeBron to Ohio falls through, and he still wants to return home, there's a clear option waiting for him. Charania himself has repeatedly narrowed this down to a tier system, and for a long stretch, Golden State simply wasn't in the top group. The teams that continue to come up are Cleveland, Miami, and Philadelphia. When the Sixers got Jaylen Brown, I did some research, and James is taking their pitch very seriously. When I talk to teams now, I have a hierarchy of Cleveland, Miami, Philadelphia, and then some teams on the periphery. That's a direct dig at where the Warriors stood. Periphery is not the word any franchise wants attached to their pursuit of a player like LeBron. It's also exactly the kind of report that makes Draymond's golf trip look less like a formality and more like a Hail Mary, a last chance to move the Warriors out of that periphery tier through pure personal connection, which is part of why the whole thing has felt so chaotic all summer. Reports shift by the day. One week, Cleveland's the runaway favorite. The next week, Miami's surging. Then Philly gets Jaylen Brown, and suddenly they're relevant again. It's genuinely been described as a roller coaster by people covering it closely. And that instability is exactly the kind of environment where one personal conversation, one golf trip, one pitch from a guy who's known you for years can actually swing momentum. That's the backdrop Draymond was pitching into, not an empty room where the Warriors were the only ones calling. A crowded, aggressive, multi-team sales pitch where Golden State had fallen behind 3 other franchises with stronger on-paper cases, which makes what came next, the reported reaction inside league circles to Draymond's trip, even more interesting. So here's the actual question everyone wants answered. Did any of it work? Did Draymond's pitch actually move the needle, or was it just a nice story for the podcast? The most direct answer so far comes from insiders covering the process, from inside NBA Summer League in Las Vegas, where league sources have been buzzing about exactly this trip. According to reporting out of that setting, LeBron is giving serious weight to what Draymond laid out. As LeBron James continues to think about his free agency decision, Draymond Green and the Warriors continue to push hard for the 41-year-old. And more specifically, insiders describe Draymond's approach as unusually direct, compared to how other teams have had to operate. Green recently spent time with James as he continues to mull his options, and the Warriors forward made sure to lay out every possible reason. One of his best friends in the league should join forces with him, and Stephen Curry in San Francisco. And it also served as a key moment for Green to speak on behalf of the Warriors directly to LeBron, something other teams have not been able to do since his agent, Rich Paul, has been fielding all interest and voice recordings for the 22-time All-Star. Read that carefully. Every other team has had to go through Rich Paul. Voice notes, phone calls, formal pitches filtered through an agent. Draymond skipped all of that. He got direct access, face-to-face on a golf course, with nobody managing the message in between. That's an advantage none of the other three favorites actually had, and the betting markets noticed. Just as this story was breaking, the numbers on where LeBron lands started shifting in a way nobody predicted. As of midday Monday, July 13, the Golden State Warriors have pushed their way up to number 2 on Kalshi, ahead of the Miami Heat, which is a pretty significant surprise. Number 2, not periphery, not an afterthought. Second most likely destination, jumping ahead of a franchise with 2 championship rings already attached to LeBron's name there. Meanwhile, the frontrunner everyone assumed was a lock started slipping. The Sixers were once surging as a popular dark horse landing spot, and while they may still be that, Kalshi currently lists them with only a 9% chance. Another noteworthy aspect of the updated odds to land James is the drop in the Philadelphia 76ers odds. Philly's Jaylen Brown momentum, the whiteboard, the podcast appearance, all of it cooled off within days. Right around the same window, Draymond's pitch went public. Cleveland is still sitting at the top, and nobody's pretending otherwise. As things stand, it still appears that the Cavaliers have the edge to sign James for what could be his final NBA season. After all, it's hard to envision a better farewell tour than one where LeBron returns to where it all started and closes out a Hall of Fame career with his hometown team. That homecoming pull is real, and no golf trip erases 11 seasons and a title raised in that city. But Golden State isn't chasing this quietly anymore either. While Draymond was working LeBron in person, the front office was making its own moves to sweeten what it could actually offer once he says yes. They brought in a championship-winning voice on the sideline as extra ammunition. Another wrinkle to all the LeBron rumors regarding the Warriors emerged on Sunday, when the team hired former Los Angeles Lakers championship head coach Frank Vogel as one of Kerr's assistants, a coach who already has a ring with LeBron himself. Sitting right there on the same bench, Draymond's trying to sell him on joining, and Curry hasn't stopped either. Even while golfing at his own tournament in Tahoe, he kept circling back to the idea, half joking but clearly serious underneath it. Stephen Curry shared excitement about teaming up with free agent LeBron James. "I'd say more so I'm interested to just play golf with LeBron," Curry said. "We'll handle the basketball stuff, but I want to see the golf LeBron free agent. He's out here really grinding on the game, but I'm sure we obviously would love to play together. I mean, hopefully it happens." So you've got Draymond's direct pitch, Curry's public campaigning, a new coach with a ring already tied to LeBron, and the actual betting markets responding by pushing Golden State ahead of 2 of the 3 teams that were supposedly running away with this. That's not nothing. That's a franchise that looked dead in the water a month ago, now sitting in second place in the race for the most talked about free agent of the decade. Whether that holds until LeBron actually makes his call is the one thing nobody, not Draymond, not Charania, not the betting markets, can answer yet. So where does this actually leave things? LeBron hasn't signed anywhere. He hasn't ruled anywhere out either. And everyone chasing him, Draymond included, is stuck in the same position, having made their case and now just waiting. The decision itself is reportedly close. Could this be the week that the decision 2.0 comes to an end? The entire NBA world is waiting with bated breath to see where LeBron James will sign in free agency, a decision that is expected to come sometime this week. Every rumor, every odd shift, every golf photo gets picked apart, because everyone knows the window is closing fast. For Draymond, this isn't just about being a good friend or a good recruiter. His own future is tied up in this too. He's still technically unrestricted, still without a new deal of his own, having walked away from real guaranteed money specifically to make this exact scenario possible. Team sources have made clear that his own return to Golden State was never really in question. Upon returning from his time with LeBron, Green went on his podcast and briefly spoke about his interactions with James, claiming that his pitch was crazy and something that would make you think twice about it. Even though Draymond himself remains an unrestricted free agent, team sources told Clutch Points in June that Green will be back with the franchise no matter what. The idea of Green leaving the Warriors and teaming up with LeBron elsewhere is not something under consideration. So Draymond isn't gambling on his own spot on the roster. He's gambling on whether he can drag his closest friend in the league along with him. And Draymond himself seems to know he can't fully measure what he actually accomplished. His own words on the podcast carried a strange mix of confidence and uncertainty at the same time. Like a man who genuinely doesn't know if what he said mattered, but hopes it did. But we weren't hanging out just so I could give him a recruiting pitch. That line matters. Even Draymond, in the middle of describing his own sales pitch, wanted it clear that the friendship came first and the recruiting was almost a bonus layered on top of real time together. That's worth sitting with. This wasn't a business meeting dressed up as a hangout. It was two guys who've actually built something over a decade of all-star weekends, Olympic gold medals and postseason battles, catching up like anyone else would, and Draymond just happened to use the moment to make his case. Because how could he not? Whether that case actually lands where Draymond wants it to is still completely up in the air. The teams are still shifting by the day. Cleveland still sits on top for the emotional pull of a second homecoming. Miami still has 2 rings and a coach LeBron trusts completely. Philadelphia still has a roster that just got dramatically better overnight. And Golden State, thanks in no small part to one golf trip and one very direct podcast episode, has fought its way back into serious contention after being written off entirely a few weeks earlier. What we do know from Draymond's own mouth is that he said his piece. He told LeBron exactly what playing together would look like. He admitted it was a gamble, admitted he didn't know if it would change anything, and admitted the whole thing might amount to nothing more than making LeBron think twice for a few extra days before signing somewhere else entirely. But he also made clear that if there's a version of this where LeBron is still undecided, still turning it over, still weighing one more option before locking in his final season, Draymond wants to be the reason that decision takes just a little bit longer to make. And for now, that's exactly where things stand. LeBron hasn't said a word publicly about what actually went through his head that week. Rich Paul hasn't confirmed anything. The teams are still guessing. The odds are still moving. And the only person who's told us anything real about what happened on that trip is the one guy who was actually there. Draymond Green, sitting in front of his own microphone, admitting he threw everything he had at his closest friend in the league, and now just waiting, like everyone else, to see if it actually worked. Draymond Green talks LeBron James' recruitment pitch to Warriors, responds to Sham's report in video. Draymond Green reveals his recruitment pitch to LeBron James. Warriors veteran reveals crazy LeBron James recruitment pitch. The pitch was crazy. Draymond Green believes his message will make LeBron James think twice amid Warriors rumor. Draymond Green talks about recruiting LeBron James to Warriors. LeBron James, Draymond Green hangout reportedly revealed amid Warriors rumors in NBA free agency. We need to chop it up. Draymond Green reveals crazy Warriors pitch to LeBron James during free agency. Draymond Green sounds very confident about his pitch to LeBron James. Draymond Green opens up on crazy Golden State Warriors pitch to LeBron James. Warriors Green details LeBron James recruiting pitch. Sources: LeBron James giving strong consideration to Draymond Green's Warriors pitch. Warriors forward Green details LeBron recruiting pitch. LeBron James' free agency market, what 6 teams can offer him. Where will LeBron James play next year? Latest NBA free agency rumors prediction. LeBron James next team odds. Cavaliers favored, Heat, Warriors in mix. LeBron James free agency odds undergo massive shakeup as popular pick falls out of top 3. 2026 NBA buzz, latest summer league, free agency, trade updates.